All right, let's see if this works. I am using a different mic right now. I left my other mic, so I'm gonna have to do this a weird way. This is I Sleep Too Late. I am here once again making another video. I want to talk about some of the state of the channel and a little bit of what we can look forward to. As you know, I was part of the cEDH community, the Magic the Gathering competitive EDH or Commander, and we've been talking about tournaments. And ever since my Marchesa tournament back in 2020, now I do have those videos still in my channel if you want to look through them. Been thinking about, you know, holding another tournament, and I've been considering trying to figure out how to do things now because it's been 5 years. Now, the best way for me to go about this, I think, is to use the same system we used last time. The issue is that the bot on Discord that we were using at that time wasn't really it's not being supported. Don't want to go into the full details, but I've spoke with some people and it seems like that system is no longer being maintained. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can look into figuring out how to do this a different way. And yeah, I mean the thing is there are already some systems out there in place for tournaments for multiplayer, but really this is just a four-player game trying to figure out who is, going to be the best in one day. So there's going to be a lot of game theory involved, and it's something that is going to require a lot of thinking and math. I've got a few people who are good at math I'm friends with. I'm going to see if I can talk to them about how we can figure this out. But basically, at first I was thinking about using a modified version of the ELO system, but it seems like there's some other systems out there other than ELO that we could potentially use. Problem is that the one thing that I'm interested in, True Skill, I don't think that they actually, for some reason, their thing isn't really working. So let me just see here. There's multiple rating systems out there, and TrueSkill is a skill-based ranking system developed by Microsoft, primarily for like Xbox network, and it's designed for more than two players. It seems like it would probably work. I'm looking at the calculations right now. It seems like it could probably be the best way to do things. The issue is that, well, I have to figure out a way to implement it. I have to figure out, look at the calculations, see if I can program that into some sort of, I don't know, some sort of bot of some sort, it might be a little bit difficult to do, but I think we can probably try to figure out a way to do it. Now, I do have a website that I talk about in my other channel, Kenny Clinical, that I could potentially use that website as a means because it's already being hosted and I already have the server and everything. I don't really know if I should make a separate website. If I can just save on domain names, it probably would be better if I use that website. But I digress. We'd have to figure out a way to do this using some sort of ranking system. I think ranking systems are the way to go. Like have somebody play like 4 to 5 games of Commander, and then based on those 4 to 5 games, they would have some sort of ranking. The other issue that I'm coming across is trying to figure out how to get people to matchmake. Matchmaking is going to be largely random. It's going to be whoever wants to get into a game, they press start or they want to enter the queue, that's going to be tough with Discord because I might have to use this might have to be honestly this might just have to be a Discord bot, and I'm not familiar with Discord bot programming, but that might end up being what we have to do here. So anyway, these are just some things I'm thinking about right now, going through my mind, um, trying to figure out how tournaments could potentially work. I want to try to aim for a tournament this summer, but it might be a little bit hard for me to do that given my schedule and the a level of planning. I do know how to program, but the problem is I don't know too much about Discord bot programming, and I'd have to look into it. So, excuse me. We'll see how that works. The other thing is prize support. So I obviously, I'll have the money to kind of fund this tournament. I would mainly want to be like the producer, the person providing the funds to the tournament and maybe organizing a little bit. Obviously, because it would be my money, I'd be the one that would ultimately make decisions. But tournaments require multiple people. You can't just do it every all by yourself. It's gotta be there's gotta be a team. So I'd have to figure out how to set this up because it might be a little bit harder than I think. Player skill, this is just on Wikipedia. Player skill is represented as a normal distribution and characterized by mean value of mu, which is perceived skill, and a variance of sigma, how unconfident the system is in the player's mu value. As such, nx can be interpreted as the probability that the player's true skill is x. On Xbox Live, players start with mu equals 25 and sigma equals 25 divided by 3. Mu always increases after a win and always decreases after a loss. The extent of actual updates depends on each player's sigma, sigma, and on how surprising the outcome is to the system. Unbalanced games, for example, result in either negligible um, updates when the favorite wins or how huge updates when the favorite loses surprisingly. Factor graphs and expectation propagation via moment matching are used to compute the message passing equations, which in turn compute the skills for the players. Okay, so I'm guessing mu is going to be really the meat and potatoes here. Um, but it looks like the conservative estimate of their skill is going to be what displays the player's rank. So they're going by a ranking system. It's not so much like a rating that you get, but it is by ranking. Um, this is conservative because the system is 99% sure that the player's skill is actually higher than what is displayed as their rank. The system can be used with arbitrary scales, but Microsoft uses a scale from 0 to 50 for Xbox Live. Hence, players start with a rank of R equals 25 minus 3 times 25 divided by 3 equals 0. Okay, so everybody starts with an R of 0. This means that a new player's defeat results in a large sigma loss, which partially or completely compensates their mu loss. This explains why people may gain ranks from losses. I see. So I was actually thinking about this, about people gaining a rank from losing. And I think that actually isn't completely crazy because of the way that they've described it here. Because you're starting with a rank of 0, right? And a new player's defeat results in a large sigma loss, right? So you're losing sigma, but this can be partially or completely compensates their mu loss. So there's variability in both these two variables, right? So sigma is the kind of like it's the variance, which is what they even say here. If you know anything about statistics, and then mu is like your mean value of your skill. So this equation is using both of those variables, and what it's doing is it's taking the it's arbitrarily using the number three here divided by three. I'm assuming because probably it's a four-player game that people are doing. Um, the other thing that's interesting to note is that TrueScale is patented and the name is trademarked, so it is limited to Microsoft projects and commercial projects that obtain a license to use the algorithm. Interesting. So I don't even know if I can legally use this algorithm because it's trademarked. But I probably could use some sort of similar algorithm to develop because I'm looking at the ELO system, right? And it factors in several things. First of all, there are some rating systems out there that factor in the length of a game, that factor how many players there are, obviously, but also factor in like not just first place, but second place, third place. I don't think that's the way to go about it. I think that if I were to hold a cEDH tournament, there have to be obviously one winner from the game. There can't be a second place or third place. That gets too complicated, and I feel like it would be easier if we had it so that there is one winner. It is a competitive environment. There can't be like people voting for second place or whatever. There has to be one winner, and if nobody wins, it has to be a draw. I think that's the best way to go about it. That being said, I think people should be rewarded on drawing. I think that a draw should still give you some amount of points. So I don't think it's like the ELO system, and I don't think the true skill. I don't think that there should be a rating system where everything averages out to zero. I think in every game there should be some sort of additional points in the ecosystem, if that makes any sense. So the more games played, the more points there are to share around. Think of it like a poker game. You buy in, every person buys in, they get some amount of money that they can use to gamble. What they do is whoever wins gets more money. Whoever loses will probably lose some money, but because they entered with a certain amount of change, they'll still have some money. So every time someone enters a game or maybe enters the tournament, I don't know, they'll get a certain amount of money. So I guess you could say the more players there are, the more currency there is. We could probably address it like that, where more people go into a system, an environment, and then there's people playing the game, trying to figure out how to, you know, um, how to win. So it's going to take a lot of planning for me, but these are kind of the thoughts that are running around in my head. Planning a tournament, trying to figure out how this thing will work. I know that there's other ways to go about doing this, but I think I kind of want to do things my own way, just because I think that that would be the easiest way for me to compartmentalize everything. So maybe what I'll do is because I have the website written in PHP, maybe I could just write something up in PHP and figure this out. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know I'm rambling right now, but I'm just trying to figure out what to do with um, tournament organization and multiplayer formats and stuff. Because it is a very complicated thing to talk about. It's a very not a very easy thing, and everyone is good with chess 1v1. Two-player games is pretty straightforward. When it comes to these four-player games, it gets really complicated. Some people are saying, "Oh, just treat it like two-player games, but just six different ways or whatever." I don't know, or 4 different ways. I don't know. It just it's really complex, and I guess what we could do is, yeah, I guess one thing we could do is say, okay, well, why don't we just use the elo rating, but instead of having it be, you know, for 1v1, it's going to be a four-player game. And if you think about a square, right, 4 points to a square, put a cross in there, and there's 6 lines, right? That means that there's 6 different possibilities for pairing two people in a four-player system. So you take all 6 of those lines, and there is going to be one clear winner in each of those lines, or if none of the people in those lines is a winner, then it's a draw. So maybe each, yeah, actually, that might work. That might work. So each game is 6 games, effectively. Each game is 6 games. You have an elo system where there's one game of multiplayer is 6 elo games separately, but you're just conglomerating them all together into one. I think that probably works. The only issue is that you have to figure out how to, like, I'm sure the order matters, right? Because you're doing this sequentially. Ratings, with how the way that ratings work is you do it serially. I've used the word cereal before in a previous video. It's not the food cereal. It's SERIAL, like a serial code. But you're doing it in an interval level. So you do one game, then you do the next game, then you do the next game. So how would I make this work? Probably the person who wins, those games would have to be factored in, and then the other games would have to be factored in as well. So it's kind of complicated, but really I think it kind of works out a little bit, right? Hmm. This gives me a lot to think about. This definitely gives me a lot to think about. We got a lot of different possibilities for how to organize these tournaments. The elo system might be the best way to go about it, and just have it be like a 6 game assignment. So each game is 6 and 1. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out how to do. Mostly just rambling at this point. If anyone in the comments knows what they're doing, or is good at math and statistics, let me know. Let me know what your thoughts are on this whole system. I'm just kind of thinking out loud here, trying to brainstorm, because I figured I'd try to get some of this, not in so much in writing, but in video, so that I can look back at it and just kind of ruminate. So as soon as I find out more information, I'll let you all know. I appreciate you watching my videos. Again, these are experimental videos while I figure out what to do with this channel. I have a very busy job, a very busy career. I don't really have time to have a huge production on my channel, as you can probably tell. I don't have a lot of time to make very nice laid out videos. I really, I mean, just being able to set up this cat was enough work for me. Just my actual personal life is very busy, so I'll try to post up more videos later on, but I really appreciate you all checking out my videos. And feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. But either way, I appreciate you watching my videos, because watching my videos is definitely a benefit right now. I already have a certain amount of subscribers that I feel like the criteria for monetization for that aspect. But the thing that I'm lacking to monetize these videos is view hours. So if you haven't subscribed, not a big deal. Just thanks for watching in and tuning in. See you later.